Senate, there's only 100 of them, not to just vote with their party establishment. We need to vote to make the hard decisions to cut government where we can, and certainly more than we have. And so I've decided to get into the race and to compete, win the nomination, go to Washington and lead.
Do you, when you say win the nomination, handicap your chances for me at the convention, given that you've got obviously some wind at Rick Berg's back, having been elected to the House seat and then moving up to the Senate seat? I'd imagine the way the party apparatus works, there's going to be a residual of support for him there. Would you anticipate besting him there, or do you see this going to a primary vote?
Well, we're going to plan to win at the convention. It's going to be an uphill battle. Rick has, at this time, got more money and a better ground game, having just come off his last win. And he's a good campaigner. He's a very good campaigner. We know that it's going to be a challenge, but we think we can do it, and we're going to go, one day at a time to that goal, and then if it doesn't work out, talk about what needs to happen after it.
Besides the debt vote, most recent discussion there, which kind of split some folks that have been sort of Tea Party conservatives, and Alan West and Paul Ryan and some folks that have pretty strong credentials on the fiscal conservative side voted as Rick Berg did. A few others, Michelle Bachmann, and some others went the other way. Are there other votes that concern you, Duane, that are part of the reason you're here? I mean, assess Rick's voting record from a conservative Tea Party perspective.
Well, that's another good point. I mean, this one debt limit extension beyond the 2012 election, which is going to add $2.4 trillion to our debt, was, which was really some of the motivation last week that put me in this race. But, there are many other votes. I mean, Rick has literally voted with Nancy Pelosi 40% of the time since he's been in D.C., and specifically to your question, one vote that I can think of was the vote, I believe it was January, to start trimming some of the fat so, we don't have to have our kids and grandkids pay too much of this back. It was a vote to cut Amtrak spending by $450 million. I mean, this was a bill to get Amtrak back to its 2009 budget, and Rick voted even against that. And I didn't understand it then. I still don't understand it. I haven't talked to him, but it's just and sadly a bunch of votes that we'll be putting out soon, and just because that's what he has to defend to run for the Senate so soon after getting into the House. And
is this about sort of going along to get along with leadership?
It really is. In 2008, I ran my campaign for Congress against Earl, stating very clearly that I'm not going to Washington to vote Republican. I'm going to Washington to vote pro-American. Less government, lower taxes. That's actually in the Republican Party platform that so many Republicans don't even follow these days. So I'm not going there knowing that I'm going to be voting with the establishment. In fact, I think Mitch McConnell, who's part of the reason we have this bill that has caused this chaos in the markets and the AAA bond rating, is more part of the problem than the solution. We've got to get new, energetic, strong leaders who will go to Washington and vote the way the will of the people ask them to. And I think that is to get our government budget balanced and not do it by nibbling at the edges.
You talked about your previous run against Earl Pomeroy. This would be your fourth run for Congress. What makes this time different for you? Well, obviously, you challenged Democrats previously in your races and some Republicans to get the nomination. This time you're challenging Rick Berg for the Senate nomination and ultimately hope to run against whoever the Democrats endorse for the general convention. Why is fourth time the charm, Duane?
Well, I don't know. Scott, the percent of challengers trying to unseat incumbents in every state in America. The success rate of that is less than 3%. I've gotten into the arena when the going was rough, and I knew it was rough because it was the right thing to do. Being an incumbent is just plain difficult anywhere in America because of their ties to special interests with deep pockets in Washington, D.C. I want to remind the voters of North Dakota that this is a U.S. Senate seat that is an open seat. Rick is not the incumbent. He's a congressman running for the Senate. I realize there's some benefit to being in that position, and I'm not going to fool myself or try to fool anyone else about the difficulty in that. But I'm doing this for the right reason. It's not the easiest thing to be doing if I'm interested in seeking a position to represent North Dakotans and lead our country, but it's the right decision, and because of that, I'm all in it with both feet.
And we mentioned earlier that your plan is to try and win at the convention. Obviously, I think you're making some of the same points I'm getting at, that Rick will have a natural advantage of the convention just because of the establishment, essentially saying, hey, okay, he won the House race, the Senate seat's vacant, therefore it's his. I think we've all learned our lesson on saying, hey, competition's good for everybody. Kevin Cramer challenging Rick Berg. Competition for that House race made Rick a better candidate. You challenging him will either make him a better candidate or make you a better candidate, one of the two. But if you do not end up getting it at the convention, would you stop there or would you go on to the primary?
I'm not going to make any commitments at this time, Scott. I certainly know that the challenge of getting the nomination at the convention is going to be difficult, and there is another opportunity with the primary next June, so that has to be on the table because it may be a part of the strategy we're going to have to take. But you said it. The Republican Party platform believes in vigorous debate, and anyone that I've talked to, all except for Rick in the last 3 months as I've traveled across the state, has encouraged me to get in so that people, delegates, and Republicans, North Dakotans in general, have a choice, that there's a clear distinction made, that the debate will help both of us. I heard you speak at a Tea Party rally last week, Scott, where you brought up the history of our country and how we get out of the mess we're in, and the way we're headed is not the right way, and Rick supported this way, and I disagree with it. So we're going to get in and see who's the better person to represent our state. I
have less than 30 seconds left. You mentioned Rick Berg was the only one you've talked to that didn't think it was a good idea. Did he try to talk you out of this?
He did. He did encourage me to get into the House race, and as I stated before, we've done numerous ice cream socials. I've traveled to literally every corner of the state, and there may be many people who thought it, but no one said that I should get out of this Senate race. And so I'm in it, and I appreciate their mentoring.
All right, Duane, thanks for the update. No doubt the first of many conversations to come along the campaign trail. We appreciate the time today, joining us on this momentous day. Thank you.
Have a great day, sir.
All right, more on the Common Sense Club coming up. Don't go away.